Hi guys, barring injuries, how good do you think Brazilian Ronaldo could have been? Let's put it this way, he was one of the absolute greats even with his injuries, and at one point during his career, which was between the 1998 World Cup and the 2002 World Cup, he was out for 3.5 years with the most horrendous knee injury. He came back, played just before the World Cup, got back into the Brazilian team, and then won the Golden Boot, won the World Cup, scored 2 in the final, and 8 in the whole competition. So I think we can safely say, without injuries, he would have been even better, which seems hard to believe, because he would have obviously had way more success.
Yeah, I think he would have been equal, if not better, than Messi and Ronaldo. Yeah, definitely. Such was his ability. But you're right, he was ravished by injuries, unfortunately. But yeah, what a player! Unbelievable, great player.
He'd have been the GOAT, the greatest of all time, without doubt. He was ridiculous. He had everything: touch, speed, technique, intelligence, timing of the run, finishing. Yeah, without doubt, he would have been the GOAT.
Here's a question for you, both at their prime. Who's the best Ronaldo?
R9.
R9.
Sorry, I think Cristiano Ronaldo is a better goal scorer. Like, I think he will do anything to... So, like, if you look at R9's goals, and you look at Ronaldo CR7's goals, Ronaldo just finds a way. R9's goals were very elegant, like he beat 3 players, dinked someone or whatever it may be. Whereas I think Cristiano just finds a way to score. So I think he would score more.
Brazilian Ronaldo would also score a lot of poachers' goals as well. So he had a bit of everything. But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, 2 of the greats. I mean, young people now will go, nah, there's Cristiano, it's Cristiano. But he was that good, wasn't he?
Yeah.
El fenomeno.
So Gary, you know Ronaldo, don't you?
Well, I know them both. I've interviewed both Cristiano and El fenomeno, and actually many times with the Brazilian Ronaldo. Did a documentary with him relatively recently, which was fab. And he's a lovely, lovely man. Let me tell you that for starters. Just such an engaging personality, very warm. Charismatic as well. And I also met him going back. Can you remember when they had the World Club Championship where Manchester United went and didn't play in the FA Cup because of that? There was a massive furore back home about that. But we covered that tournament with the BBC. It was actually a great gig. We did about, I think, 10 days in January in Rio de Janeiro, which was quite a nice little escape. And I remember interviewing Brazilian Ronaldo there, and he had that was right in the middle of those injuries we talked about, and he had the biggest scar you've ever seen on his knee. And he was saying that it's really difficult trying to get back. He's been injured for so long, and so I knew him back then. And I also interviewed him about I don't know, 3-4 years ago in Ibiza, because we made a film with him, and he was telling me about because obviously in 1998 when they played in Paris, they had that huge thing where he was going to be in the team, then he wasn't in the team because he'd had some kind of seizure during the day in the hotel where he'd taken his siesta, and then he woke up with medics all around him, and he was really, in the end they put the team in and he wasn't on it, and then 5 minutes later it was changed because he arrived in an ambulance, I think, and wanted to play, and then they ended up losing that final, and there were all sorts of, it was a kind of a big conspiracy theories about whether it was done deliberately, whether it was a Nike thing, all lots of nonsense, obviously, like most conspiracy theories. And then I asked him the question I said, so 4 years later, you're playing in the World Cup final again. I said, did you take a siesta? And he went, No, he said, for the only game in my whole career, he says, I daren't fall asleep. I was too scared of it happening again.
Wow.
And he said, I stayed awake. He said, I walked around the hotel. I tried to find someone that was not having a siesta before the final. He said, and in the end, he said, I found the reserve goalkeeper, and we just sat there talking about anything just to keep me awake. And then he goes and scores 2 goals, and they beat Germany in the final. So what a man!
It's remarkable. That was so remarkable.
On that, we'll have a break. Not a 3.5 year break, but just